Hello everyone, today I rolled with Koenig. She is a purple belt in Jiu-Jitsu under Brock Larson, and she had a stint for a while where she was an amateur fighter. She's pretty famous online for one video where she decided to kick her opponent straight into the cage, and following all this immense popularity, she also got to discover the popular side of YouTube known as the comments section. If you also want to leave these types of comments, make sure to subscribe to my channel and like my video. Then you can tell Katie just how thick she is, and I will make sure to read every comment to her. I'm sure she really appreciates what everybody is thinking. Now let's see what the rolls are like today. We start the roll off in a pretty traditional way where we go for the hand bump and we do some hand fighting. She pulls my wrist to the side and immediately goes for a knee slide pass. I counter her knee slide pass by going up to my knees to start some wrestling. She keeps her front head, but then remembers she's actually a jiu-jitsu player, so she falls to her side on her butt. She attempts to retain her guard, but instead of shrimping, she tries just to scoop my leg in. These are the types of hips you expect from a purple belt in jiu-jitsu. As I go for the pass, she starts to notice that my head is in the prime position for the only submission that ever works, the guillotine. So she sets it up and she puts me in her full guard to try and get some real leverage on the choke. Of course, the guillotine only works when I do it, so there is no pressure until she's able to get me into mount, and from here on out, instead of getting a choke, she goes for a cheeky crank instead. After our tap, we restart the roll and we do the traditional fist bump. She decides to pull my arm across before I can finish the fist bump and starts working on my back. These are the kind of techniques you need in our gym if you're looking for promotion. She gets her hooks in for back control and is smart and is able to control my wrist instead of going directly for the choke. I grab her arm and I bring it to the other side. From here, she decides to go for an arm bar. However, I am the strongest person in the gym and you can't pull out my arm once I decide to keep it locked. Since she knows she can't break my grip, she is smart and goes for a triangle instead because clearly I have a problem with chokes at this gym. Now this triangle is a little bit sharper of a choke because she has such a great angle with her calf on my neck. She doesn't have too much of her thigh in there. I attempt to pull her back to try and loosen it up, but I feel pretty stuck at this moment. We sit here for a while she decides which side she'd like my arm to be on. She's not able to finish the choke until she does her ultimate technique, which is putting her hands behind her head and squeezing using her core. Now at the start of this next roll, I decide I need to go Super Saiyan, so I take my belt off because I can't be tapped again. She starts this next roll off very fancily by jumping around my guard. There's no way I could beat this awesome technique unless I remember that I can wrestle and go to my knees and start going for her legs. As I do that, she keeps trying to spin around, but I'm able to bring her back down to the mat where she belongs. She latches on to a Kimura and goes for the sweep. Now she knows that I have 2 torn shoulders, so naturally, as I said, if you want to get ahead in this gym, you need to go for the cheeky techniques. So of course she is trying to crank my shoulder off with this Kimura grip, and I have no choice but to tap. It's probably at this point in time when she realizes that I am not a true black belt and that I should just give my belt to her, as she's tapped me 3 times to 0. We start a new round, but she's a little bit tired from having her way with me so much that she decides to go for an amazing pass where she decides to sit straight into my guard. Now for some serious commentary here, she decides to pass my guard by going for a high hip pass. This includes putting weight on my spine and then extending my legs away from my neck, creating a nice hole for her so she can put me in the north-south position. She starts working towards my back and trying to put her hooks in. However, a different group of people come in wearing no gi, and she has so much confidence after tapping me 3 times that she can tell anybody where they should be on the mat. She asserts her dominance and pushes them out of the camera frame. Since she's on my back, she can start to smell blood in the water. She first attacks my wrist, which is the correct thing to do, and then she starts working towards the choke. However, she only has 1 hook in at this time. This gives me some extra time where I can start attacking her arm and trying to put it to the other side of my head. Knowing that she only has 1 hook in, however, I'm able to try and buck her off of me and pull her leg out. To ensure that I'm able to free her hook, I give her the old shaky leg. The shaky leg makes it so she's not able to stick to my hips, and she tries to attack my back again. Doing the same technique as before, she tries to go for the rear naked choke with no hooks in. Since she doesn't have her hooks, I'm able to turn into the choke as the round is ending, making it so I don't get tapped yet again, as I shouldn't because I am the black belt and she is the purple belt. Having said all that, just pretend you didn't see me just tap the back of her leg. All in all, there's nothing I really could have done. She destroyed me rolling as she always does. She forces me to take off my gi because I needed some easier rolls. Remember, if you want to leave some comments and tell Katie just how thick she is, like and subscribe and then I'll read them to her.